Today was a historic day. Historic, not in terms of stats, not in terms of runs or wickets or anything of that sort. Historic in terms of reaffirming the faith that the Indian cricket loyalists had in their team. Historic because no matter how great a supporter you were of Indian cricket, I guarantee you 90% of you hoped that it would not have been a collapse in the first session. You hope that India was not like 100 for four or like 150 for six, and then let's collapse to a 200 run lead and they finish off the match by the end of the day. Because let's be honest, that has happened way too many times in the past for you to feel that no, it's not capable of happening again. So it's been historic because this young team, it really showed proper determination and proper resolve in order to make this happen. Now, you might argue, and in fact, I'll be the first one to make the case that had it been any other bowling lineup that's playing world cricket in today's day and age, any other bowling lineup, among the main nations, of course. This would not have been the case. As well as India batted, and when I say India batted, I mean mainly KL Rahul and Rishabh Pant. As well as they both batted, we all know that it was mainly because of the ineffectiveness of the English bowling lineup. Absolutely no teeth, nothing, no piercing ability whatsoever. Even Ben Stokes looked a little bit jaded and tired, in his spells. And the team was just not capable of making any inroads and any impact whatsoever with their bowling. The fact that they got the wickets, I feel it was down to a couple of good balls by Cars. I'm not denying it, but definitely it's disappointing to say the least as to what's happening with the English bowling. Let's talk about the Indian batting, and you have to first say I think there were two superstars today. Obviously, Rishabh Pant, but I think the main superstar definitely was KL Rahul. I think yesterday when the teams went off, even the English team also acknowledged the fact that KL Rahul was the key player and he really, really made it count. Yes, he was very fortunate, not denying it. Had it not been for the drop catch, I think when he was in 60 plus, it would have been a completely different story altogether. Maybe India would have found a hero somewhere else. You never know. But uh, they say catches win you matches, and if England does lose, then Harry Brook is going to rue the chance that he spilled of KL Rahul, and a pretty straightforward chance. And so, again, it was KL Rahul's. I always felt that his technique of playing inside the line and just seeing the ball pass kind of holds him in good stead always. But I don't know if that will necessarily be good on a seaming and a swinging on a seaming pitch like what you find in England and and a swinging atmosphere kind of place like how you find in England. So I don't know if that's necessarily the best way. And I found that whenever he did do a defense, he was really committed to it. When he did go for a shot, he was very committed to it. I think the a couple of times when he was undecided, one of them did take the edge. So it's very clear that you need to be focused in what you want to do. You need to be committed to it. If you want to slash really hard, if you get out, so be it. But if that's the way you play, then that's the way you should play. I think if there's anything to go by, either Dhoni's success in England or Rishabh Pant's success in England, is that I don't think there is any one proper technique that works. I think there's technique that changes and everyone has their own technique, but it's all down to application. The more you apply yourselves and the more you feel that this is how you want to play and that's how you're committed to it, I feel the better off you are. So let's talk about the wickets going down. Gill going down pretty much in the first over or the first 10 minutes of play, whatever, was very disappointing. There was not much he could do per se. He seemed to indicate that the ball jagged a lot off the pitch and seemed to like stare the pitch down as if the pitch was some villain or something of that sort. But I don't think there were so many demons in the pitch just yet at that point of time. Sure, the ball kind of raised up, took it high on the splice of the bat and kind of rolled back to hit the stumps. And eventually, KL Rahul also would get out the same way, which kind of suggests that there was a little bit of uneven bounce on the pitch. But you know, uh, push comes to shove, pressure situation. Ultimately, the captain fell short. That's the truth. Now, whether he got an unplayable ball or not is a different story. I don't think it was unplayable. Maybe a similar kind of ball was received right in the same over by Sai Sudarshan, who kind of negotiated a different way. So you never know. I don't want to say that he wasn't committed or he, fell short and it was a disappointing thing or whatever it is, but definitely I think something could have been made. And that, of course, brought Rishabh Pant to the field, and I think he should have been out the second ball. I don't think even he knew where that ball was going. He just kind of went out there and threw the kitchen sink at it, and the ball just kind of flew off the edge of a second slip or first slip or whatever it is. But I think after that, he kind of calmed down, settled down, and played what will probably go down as one of the best centuries that you've seen out there. Very to himself. I think the whole first session, both him and Rahul played very conservatively. And you could, I mean, if there's any one word you can look for over there, it's the word determined. That's all there is to it. And I actually had to do a little bit of work, so I just kept kind of tuning in and out of the match at the same time. And every time I'd go away from the match for like 10, 15 minutes, I'd come back and I'd feel, okay, one wicket down. But it wasn't to be the case. No wickets fell. And KL Rahul looked so assured his entire stay over there. You never felt that he was, pressured. You never felt he was, didn't have an answer to what was going on. And he felt very reassured, very reassuring presence at the crease and very calming. And it's not that he wasn't scoring. He was scoring at a fair clip. I think 50 to 60 strike rate is perfectly acceptable. And given the fact that Rishabh Pant was kind of going crazy after lunch, I think it was only fair that he was taking a single and giving the strike to Rishabh Pant. And the session after lunch was one of the most entertaining sessions I've ever seen. We always say that Rishabh Pant's the kind of guy who, if he's there for like a 45 minutes or a 1 hour time, he kind of take the game away from the opposition. And that's exactly what he did. Even the super calm, super cool Ben Stokes really didn't have an answer. There were so many times when he just had his hands on his hips, saying, "What the hell is going on?" And the England team just were not in control of what was going on. Almost every single over, there was a four or there was a six, so there were like runs on offer. It was pretty incredible. I think the percentage of shots they were in control of in the towards the second session was just absolutely amazing. And before the second session was over itself, Rishabh Pant had crossed his 100, and well, he took it forever to go from 90 to 100, but nonetheless, he crossed his 100 and they were well on their way. The rest of the batting was surprisingly, once again, toothless. Karun Nair, yes, didn't get out for a duck like before, looked a little bit more, reassured at the crease, but I think all the wickets kind of fell in a heap because it was a mix between trying to get fast runs to put England back into bat versus trying to go for runs. So kind of a interesting situation where India was caught in not knowing when to declare, not knowing what is enough. Eventually, I think in an ideal world, they would have liked to have some wickets in hand, got into like maybe, 25, 30 runs, more got to maybe 400 and then declared. So eventually, India kind of ended the innings, I think, at the time that they wanted to. It's just that maybe they got about 25, 30 runs less than they would have wanted, you know. And the 6 overs that went by, you wanted to hope that maybe a wicket would have fallen, but that wasn't to be the case. I guess it's not as easy as that. Even if Bumrah is a magician, you can't expect him to do that every single time. But tomorrow is going to be an absolutely fascinating day, and really looking forward to the match tomorrow. If England do chase down the remaining 350 they have, then hats off to them. They deserve to win. But if anything to go by, if history is anything to go by, if past performance is anything to go by, this should be an Indian win. But either way, it's going to be a very, very exciting day of Test match cricket. And whoever is the winner, I know that Test match cricket is definitely going to be the winner here. And it's going to make for an enthralling, fantastic Test match series. So basically, Test match series is India's bowling versus England's batting. So this is the match of whether England's bowling can keep the England batting down, not just in this innings, but it's going to be the recurring theme throughout the entire series. See you tomorrow.